Well, I was in the kitchen making my cheesecake, and I heard the news about Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay passing away with Parkinson's. And I thought I would throw myself on the air here because most of these people who are 25 and 30 years old who are reading these cue cards don't know this man. They never knew him. They're reading stories that were written by other people who maybe did not even have an experience with him. Well, I did. First of all, I was an intern for Howard Cosell in Miami in the early days in the 60s. And that was to begin with. Also, my father was a fighter. And in the earlier days, before I got here, and a champ too, I might add. My family has a lot of boxing genes. And I thought to tell you that Angelo Dundee, who was a trainer for Muhammad Ali, I've had a relationship with him too when I was on the air in Miami on radio and television. But, I've been in and out of these things. But the most important story to tell you is that I met Muhammad Ali's daughter, May, and worked for the Scotti brothers in Los Angeles. And she had written she had done a rap record when it was at the very beginning. It was called Life is a Test. And that came from her father, He was a very good teacher for his daughters. The other daughter became a fighter, as you know. She was a woman boxer, female boxer, obviously. I'll tell you a thing about him. He lived in Philly, which is also the place where I had a relationship with some other fighters. And I think at that time he did my radio show on WIBG and sat in for he sat in for me while I was on vacation, and I overheard him doing these white put downs of white people. And so I came back to the station on my vacation and I interrupted him and I said, "Hey, wait a minute." So we had this little fight back and forth like he used to do with Howard, But I knew the boogie. I had done that with Howard and he earlier, and it was fun to have him fight with me on the air about color issues. And of course, the Muhammad Ali. Muhammad he became an Islamic member of the Islamic faith and announced that, and that was a big controversy. But primarily, I was a civil rights activist anyway back in the 60s, so I didn't have an issue with color. The only issue I had was when I was on television. I danced with a black girl in Buffalo on Channel 2, and I got home and nobody wanted to talk to me because at that time in life it was not acceptable, which I always thought was absurd. I mean, it didn't mean nothing to me. It means a lot to me now because I think we have come through a lot of the color barriers. But anyway, I've had that history, and I learned a lot from Cassius Clay because he was a showman. He was a really funny guy and a brilliant guy and a good entertainer. I just thought I'd get on the air here and tell everybody about him, knowing him, which is a little different than these news reporters sitting there reading the cue cards, as I mentioned earlier in this broadcast. See, he was a great guy, a real terrific father, and incidentally, I'm older than him, and I'm still here. And listen to this one. Lawrence Taylor got arrested for domestic violence today. So here you got one guy that dies in peace, and the other one is acting out. Big sports figure, It's a crazy world. It's a crazy world, and it's a wild ride. I could tell you this much, that I've learned that life is a lesson. May was right. I'm still learning a lot of them, and I'm so grateful to have had this relationship with everybody involved, including Don King, who has all of Cassius Clay's money hidden in his hair. That's it. That's my Reynolds rap.